in the morning. The Citizen Act of 2021, pushed forward by President Joe Biden, changed a lot of things pertaining to immigration, of where we were and where it looks like we are going. And joining us live this morning is a good friend of mine, immigration attorney Farhad Sethna, with us on WAKR. And I guess, Farhad, touch on some of the things that you're seeing in this act will be big changes, and certainly changes for the better in this country when you talk about immigration with this Citizens Act.
Well, Ray, first of all, thanks for having me, and good morning to you and all your listeners. Ray, we've got a beautiful act here in front of us. It really is a tremendous change in immigration law. However, Ray, as you know very well from having talked to me many times in the past and all your other callers as well, it's only a bill. It's a bill. It's in Congress. It's both in the House and the Senate. It's apparently about 353 pages long, and consequently, there's a lot of detail. And as you know very well, Ray, the devil is in the detail. Furthermore, as a bill, it has to get negotiated. Sections will come out, other sections may go in, the House and Senate have to reconcile, and finally it has to land on Biden's desk in some palatable form that he's going to sign. Having said that, few supercritical changes that we could see in this bill, if it passes, are there is no amnesty. I want to make it very clear. There is no amnesty for people who will jump on it and start to pillory it. No, it isn't. It will give lawful prospective immigrant status to people who are in the shadows, who are undocumented, who've lost their status. Lawful prospective immigrant status. 5 years in that status, passing background checks, paying a fee, paying all their back taxes, obeying the law, and then they get a green card. Then after that, 5 years more for them to become citizens. So it's not some amnesty blanket check, here you go, Biden is king, and you're now all his loyal subjects. It's not going to happen. Very carefully drafted. Dreamers, the young people who came as young people, now they're actually adults, many of them, will be eligible to adjust their status as well under the DREAM Act. Part of the act is also the American Promise Act. People who are here as non-citizens under TPS, temporary protected status, or DED, deferred enforced departure, will also be able to apply for adjustment of status or a green card. Those are just some of the main steps, Ray. Back to you.
Farhad, what about the impact this will have on immigration court? Let's go right into your arena here.
Well, immigration court is going to see some very significant and positive changes. Of course, those changes will take time to take place. And in the meantime, we are still hidebound under various rules that were instituted by the Trump administration. And those rules, of course, were very anti-immigrant, anti-due process, anti the entire nature and purpose of immigration law. So we're going to have to work with those rules until new rules come about. But those rules can be promulgated internally. From the standpoint of the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, the Act envisages additional training for immigration judges, additional resources, 55 new judges to be hired for each of the 4 years of this particular president's term, and another 23 attorneys to be hired each year at the Board of Immigration Appeals to ease the million-plus case backlog at that board in Falls Church, Virginia. So those are some major changes we're seeing coming down the pike for immigration court.
Farhad, so much we heard in the last few years was the change in the DACA program, and certainly involving these kids and such. Talk about where we are currently and what this bill would do in that program.
Well, one thing that both these past presidents have taught us, Trump and Obama, is that you cannot legislate by executive order, and you certainly cannot legislate by tweet. And so we actually have law now that says DACA recipients will have a pathway to citizenship if they are honest, follow the law, don't commit crimes, have a degree or a high school diploma, and or are enrolled in the U.S. military. So all of those factors go into actually giving them a reasonable pathway to citizenship, which we did not have in the past, Ray, which is wonderful for those young people.
Farhad, working on the immigration field, talk to us a little bit about what you've seen the last couple of years, some of the hiccups, some of the problems in immigration that was maybe brought on by the past administration. And it sounds like you're really encouraged by the Citizens Act of 2021.
I am tremendously engaged. But Ray, one thing I want to impress upon all your listeners, and which I tell all my clients who are calling me every day asking for the new law, the new law, the new law. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no new law. There is a proposal. It is only a bill. Nothing has changed just yet. In terms of what we have seen in the past, one of the horrible, prickly issues of the past administration was the brutal separation of children from their families, young children. And we have a task force in place. They've already reunited over 100 children with their families. A little more than 500 remain to be reunited, and I'm very, very heartened by that. If there's anything in this bill that makes me happy, it's the provision for cutting off migration at the source. Up to $1 billion, Ray, will be spent every year by the government to work with the governments of Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico even, to deter people from leaving their countries and taking this hazardous journey to the United States to seek asylum. We want to change the entire tenor in the region, and that, to me, is money extremely well spent.